Hey guys, welcome back to Joko Yo, and I have no idea what number episode this is. I just keep on doing it. It's a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. And today, it's a little bit complicated. And pardon me if I sound like I'm on a moralistic kick. I'm not. I am definitely not anybody to determine anybody's morals. But today's podcast gets into some pretty philosophical stuff. I don't really mean to, but I don't know. As the more I knew about these guys, but the more I researched them, the more like, oh, I got. You know what I mean? So today there are a couple of guys that sort of highlight that sometimes bad people can do good things and sometimes good people can do bad things. You know, people are, flawed. There's no, like living saints that I know anyway. If you do, then I'm happy for you. So people may come close, but people are people. They make mistakes, and sometimes they don't even know they make the mistakes, and they just think that's just normal. And believe me, if you've studied history at all, then you know that history, American history, and heck, North Carolina history is full of those kinds of guys. In fact, you can do good for some and bad for others, and that's where we're going today, because we have two guys from the exact same location that sort of fit that bill. And one of these guys you've probably heard of, but I don't know if you've heard the other one. In 1958, the Saturday Evening Post said that, and I will quote here, the state producing the most and the heaviest flood of bootleg booze is North Carolina, where in 1957 alcohol and tax seizure exceeded $42,000. 42,000 gallons. 1/5 of the national total. And for years, North Carolina's number one bootlegger has been Joshua Percy Flowers, who is intimate of politicians. He's a philanthropist and pillar of White Oak Baptist Church. Quote from the Saturday Evening Post. So, yeah, I said I was going to talk about him. I kind of am, but only in relation to something else, as I said I was going to do. And now, J. Percy Flowers, there are some things I'm just not going to talk about. I'm just not. But I will talk about these things. He was earning roughly $1 million a year in 1958 in untaxed revenue. That's a lot of dang money. In 1958, that's a lot of dang money. I have no idea what the translation is at 2019 cash. He was actually charged. I mean, how do you get by with that, right? Well, he was actually charged by a federal court 10 times, and he also got 18 state and county charges. I mean, various charges, like bootlegging is a charge, income tax evasion is a charge, illegal firearm purchases is a charge, reckless driving is a charge. Only one charge actually stuck of all of those, but according to witnesses, they only stuck because he threatened an informant in open court in front of everybody. Well, I mean, you can't deny that. And so he did serve some time, but not much. He even had a still. I mean, as Flowers Plantation, according to what people I've spoken with, as Flowers Plantation, which is his property, has been developed and developed and developed, and houses keep going in there. They have been over the last 20 years finding still after still after still deep in the woods. Dude, he even had a still under a pond, according to people that have a chance to know. I mean, a still under a pond, a waterproof, enclosed still under a pond. You're not finding that. That's some pretty high tech stuff. Now, he called his plantation. He made money and he bought land with it. He thought it was a pretty good purchase. And if you look at what's been happening the last couple of decades, he wasn't wrong. He called his plantation of Wake in Johnston County 5,000 acres. As a matter of fact, he called it Pineville, but it's been called Pineville for years. I mean, it's always been called Pineville. It was only called Flowers Plantation in 1978. Now, there's no shortage of stories about Percy, many of which people have kept to themselves, such as the boy that he bought a boat for his dad because, well, there's a story back there too. But anyway, his first encounter, his first breach with the law, came in 1935 when he and his brother assaulted a federal Treasury agent. I mean, you can't make this up. He went to jail, but he got out after 3 days. And again, 1935, he got out after 3 days because his lawyer informed the judge that 22 sharecropper families depended on him to live. And so he got out. It was said then that if you wanted to be a Democratic politician in North Carolina, you had to talk to Percy. Percy knew everybody. Everybody knew Percy. And like many moonshiners, I mean, look, Johnston County, there's a lot. But like many moonshiners, he liked to race cars. And what we saw as a race, he was actually trying out runners. Again, much like the moonshiners of the North Carolina mountains. Now, before it was owned by Percy Flowers, this plantation, this Pineville, was owned by one John Watson, who is a Revolutionary War veteran. His son Josiah was born in 1784 on the property. So John Watson owned this property, and he, of course, his son Josiah is going to inherit it. Now Josiah is, of course, going to take benefit from his father's position and the money, and he's going to go off and train to be a medical doctor, a surgeon. As a matter of fact, he's going to actually be a surgeon during the War of 1812, and he's going to serve under Andrew Jackson. And according to the letters of Andrew Jackson and Josiah Watson, they actually developed a friendship. So Josiah Watson owned 10,000 acres, 5,000 of which is going to become later on Flowers Plantation. In fact, it was the Flowers family that bought this plantation directly from Watson's family, so it's a direct handover. Now, Josiah was one of the state's largest slaveholders. In the 1800s, he had 325, and as that with 325 slaves, I mean that's pretty awful. That also makes him arguably the largest slaveholder in Johnston County, all of its history. And he had studied medicine in Tarboro, North Carolina. He studied at the University of Pennsylvania. He practiced medicine in Charleston until he inherited Pineville Plantation in 1815 and 5,000 other acres, and he bought land in Alabama, of which he turned into plantations. So let me just make sure I understand this. And this is what we're getting to the crux of here. Josiah Watson is a doctor, surgeon, served his country, helps people get better, and also owns slaves. And buys more property so he can own more slaves. Kind of icky. Now, being a politically connected person, a medical doctor, it was natural that one of his longest-lasting legacies, besides being a slaveholder, was where his politics and his medicine are going to connect. See, in 1848, there's a lady coming from Massachusetts. She's going around the whole country. She's got some money. Her grandmother was wealthy. She went to go live with her grandmother, and she's got this thing that she's really, really, really all about, and you know her name. She's going around before she comes to North Carolina. She's gone to New Jersey, New Hampshire, Louisiana, Illinois, and she has been doing studies using, her own background of wealth to to bring light to the whole notion that mentally ill people should just simply be imprisoned. I mean, she made reports. She goes to counties and reports on what happens. And then when she compiles the reports of the mistreatment of mentally ill people, she petitions to be heard in our General Assemblies or our Houses of Commons. And, well, she seems to be pretty successful. You know, her name is Dorothea Dix. Well, as a result of her work, she does go to the NC House of Commons, the predecessor of the NC General Assembly. And as a result of her work, the NC State Medical Society was formed in 1849 with one of the first things it's going to set out to accomplish is set up a hospital for the mentally ill, one of the first in the South. Dr. Josiah Watson was a founding member. Apparently he was moved. And of course, after he died, his estate's going to actually be the fund behind creating a school in Raleigh. You may have heard of Ravenscroft. Yeah, Josiah Watson's money paid for that to get it started. So Josiah Watson was Johnston's representative to the North Carolina House of Commons General Assembly for a couple of months. He replaced a man named Kenton Adams. He moved to Tennessee, who was representative while David Thompson was in North Carolina Senate. Watson was also a member of the Electoral College in 1836, a chairman of Johnston County Court, and he owned a wool factory in Raleigh called the Neuse River Mill, which employed roughly 100 people, and part owner of the North Carolina Railroad. So, y'all, Southern history is full of this stuff. I mean, it sort of defines Southern history up until 1865, and even after, for that matter. Does that make him a racist jerk? Heck yeah, it makes him a racist jerk. Heck yeah, it makes him a racist jerk. Yeah, definitely. And people have to pay for one way or the other for what they've done. And when they don't, you feel like justice is not being served. You help kids, you build them schools, you help the mentally ill and incapacitated, you help keep poor families from going hungry, doing good things. Yeah, racist jerks can do good things, and sometimes, as you well know, the people that you think are good do really, really bad things. But again, it's not me to decide that. But we do have to deal with what they did, one way or the other. And then you look, it was bad. And then you look at Percy Flowers. 22 sharecropping families depended on him for their livelihoods. If it weren't for him, they're poor and destitute. Percy Flowers had a whole cadre, a whole squad of people that looked up to him and loved him, a pillar of his church, and contributed so much to the economy and Johnston County as a whole. And at the same time, this man is running bootleg liquor, dodging his taxes, purchasing guns illegally. Everyone's trying to paint people as good people or bad people based on the way they talk or what TV station they watch or how they vote, that's utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Let's take the good, recognize the bad, try to fix the bad, and make the good, better. And sorry to get on a soapbox today, but I don't really think it's a soapbox. But that's all I got. Anyway, that's all. Y'all hope you enjoyed it, and until next time.